Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to talk about Dogecoin and the bubble that it is in. If you guys like the content, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Let's go ahead and jump in. So at the time of this video, the price of Doge is above 30 cents. Okay? Now let that sink in for a little bit. Let that sink in. It wasn't that long ago when it was trading for less than a penny, and now it's sitting at 30 cents. Okay, if you look at March 13th, it was literally 0.001 basically 0.001 at the bottom of the wick. Sorry, another zero. So 1/100 or 1/10 of a penny, 1/1000th of a dollar. And now it is trading at 30 cents. Now, why is this significant? Well, these moves by Dogecoin happen actually somewhat regularly in crypto. It's not like this is the first time we've seen something like this. Against USD anyways. We've seen moves like this before. This move was about 2000%, 2200%. This one was around 2800%. Okay, and that happened in March of 2017 and then December of 2017. And then you go to today, we go look at what's going on today, and we say, all right, well, if you measure it from here, it's about 3000%, and then coming back down to the bottom, and we're already went up about 1000%. So could the price of Doge go higher? Of course it could. Of course it could. But the point is to recognize that we are in a bubble and you need to manage your risk here, because there's also a decent chance that this is a local top for a while, 46 cents. Now you look at this chart, and this is a 5-minute chart, and there's only so much you can learn from short time frame charts, and you really never really know how high things can go. For instance, yes, this looks like a bubble. Of course, we could go much higher, and then this would only be, part of the bubble. However, when you look at this from a very pragmatic point of view, and we just say, all right, well, what about a textbook bubble? You look at a textbook bubble, and you see some similarities, okay? You see takeoff, the first sell-off, media attention, enthusiasm, public greed, delusion, the new paradigm up here, bull trap, return to normal, fear, capitulation. Okay, now the question is, this move that Doge is currently in, is it part of a much bigger bubble, in which case we would only assume that this is sort of in the middle region, not the final part? I should say, I do not own Dogecoin. I honestly have no interest, self-interest in really talking about it. I just want to warn people, because there are a lot of new people in the space, and I've seen them throwing their Bitcoin, throwing their Ethereum at Dogecoin at 45 cents. And again, it's not to say that it can't go higher, but we need to recognize we need to recognize that we are in a bubble. Okay, Doge is in a bubble, and this will simply not be sustainable. It just simply won't. If you look at prior moves by Dogecoin, okay, again, looking at prior moves, a lot of times, so last cycle, we had a major move, and everyone was getting super excited about it, and it went to 0.004, and then it came back down. Now, it didn't go back down to where it was originally before the bubble started. Okay, so if you measured from, say, the bottom up to where we capitulated to, it was still a 265% gain. And then, if you do it again, from, say, the bottom here up to, well, let's just go to the bottom of this wick here, that'd be 67%. If you just sort of assumed maybe one of these other bottoms that happened earlier on, it was still 161% up. The March capitulation is something that sort of throws a wrench into everything. But again, it was still higher than where we started. Okay, so then we look at this cycle, and we've had a couple of major moves. Okay, so we had this one, and so far from the bottom, even though there was a pretty significant pullback, it still was 1,500% up from the bottom. So currently, here we are, and we more or less just been going up. We're up 900% at the top. Now we're currently up 527%. So what I want to say is that, you know, there's going to be a lot of people making videos on Dogecoin where they're just going to always say it's going to go up and up and up forever. And the problem with this is that a lot of times these guys will disappear when it starts going back down. So if you're new to the space and you look at Dogecoin and you think it's the next best thing, and that you think it's about to continue to go up, we have to recognize that there are definitely some limitations on what it can theoretically do. If you look at the Doge Bitcoin valuation, to be completely honest, this is one of the most ridiculous charts I've ever looked at. So if you do hold Doge, congratulations. Historically, as we've discussed before, we've had one video on Dogecoin on this channel before. If you want to play the Doge game, it's not buying the peaks. It's not buying these insane candles. I mean, these used to be insane candles before you look at this one. It's not buying into that, okay? It's buying down here. It's buying when the Doge Bitcoin valuation is very, very low. And we've had plenty of these phases, plenty of them. And then, you could argue that into the yellow band could be sort of a take profits region, because there's been several times we go to that region and you never really know if you're going to make it up to the red one. So this could be your take profits region. And then the red one historically is the local top. This time we've gone much, much higher. And so because we've gone a lot higher, it theoretically means, right, whenever the bubble comes crashing back down for Doge, even more people are going to be out probably a lot of money. So the question ultimately is, where will the top be? Are we at it now? Are we at 47 cents now? Is that the top? Or is that just another stepping stone to an even higher valuation? One thing you should consider is that the current market capitalization of Dogecoin is currently around 50 billion or so. Okay, it's currently around 50 billion. And when we look at this, when we look at the if we say go to coin market cap, one of the things we can do is we can say, well, where are the other coins? So if Doge is currently, and we should probably update this, and I don't know if it's fully updated. If Dogecoin, so it's actually currently at 40 billion. If Dogecoin is at 40 billion or so, at 31 cents, then to go to $1, it would need to go up another 3x, or a little more than 3x, which would represent a market capitalization that would put it in the number 3 spot. Now, that's honestly very hard for me to imagine happening. I cannot picture Doge above these valuations of XRP and Binance Coin in the short term. When you look at Ethereum, you see the market capitalization of 285 billion, and so the idea that Doge could go to anywhere near that valuation just seems somewhat absurd. But with that said, you look at the candle, and I mean, at some point, I just sort of have to sit here in disbelief to see that this is what it has done, and that it legitimately went up to valuations against Bitcoin that we've never even come close to before. If you look at prior Bitcoin valuations of Doge, I mean, it's legitimately up 151% from prior local tops, or the global all-time high of the Doge Bitcoin valuation, 151% up. So we need to look at this from a very pragmatic point of view and say, you know what? No one's going to be able to tell you where the top is. No one's going to be able to tell you exactly when it's going to capitulate. If you were buying down here, I'm sure there's a lot of people that were buying over here that are taking profits right now. And the dangerous thing is that when people are buying up here, or more specifically, I know a lot of people that bought here, and then when it came back down, they capitulated. And then it ultimately went back up, and now they're probably feeling sick to their stomach. In the same way, there will be people that buy at whatever the new top is, whether we've already hit it or we'll go to it later on. There'll be people that'll buy at whatever the new top is, and then when it comes back down, they'll probably capitulate and lose money, and the game will simply continue. The way that I would generally think about Doge and where it could be headed in the short term, if you're watching this video over the next several weeks, there's a decent chance that the valuation, still stays relatively inflated. I mean, I don't know if it's a few days or a few weeks. So if you're watching this video in a few weeks, we could still be at these levels or higher. If you're watching it in a year, or say like a few months from now, I would honestly be shocked if it were still at these valuations. If you're watching it a year or two from now, again, it's going to be one of those things where even if we go up higher, whenever it comes back down, it's probably going to be a pretty nasty correction. So if you're watching it 5 years from now or 10 years from now, then you could argue that it's just the new normal, kind of like, a long time ago, 0.0002 was sort of the norm, and then it went up to 0.004, which is over 10x, and now 0.004, which used to be the prior top, would actually seem quite bearish today. And then if you look at the next top, people would be pretty bearish about that. So even if at some point it does come back down, right, it doesn't mean that in several years this one could theoretically be the a future bearish thought with regards to Doge. So the hard thing is that in crypto, and I mean, I think a lot of people that are into Doge are not really into a lot of other cryptocurrencies. They're mainly into Doge because of social media. The thing you have to understand is that, Doge is one of those coins that it's sort of hard to ever imagine it going to these insane valuations until it does, and then people just sort of sit around in disbelief. And that's why I think looking at the Doge Bitcoin chart sort of shows, okay, in the past, the best time to buy Doge is when it's down here, and it's been down there several times, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 key times when the Doge Bitcoin valuation has been all the way down here, and only 3 times when it's been above, or say into the red band, or 4 times actually, so because this will count as 2 separate ones. So 4 times now where it's been in the red band or above, and right now we are very far above it. Okay, so we look at the Doge valuation and we say, all right, well, against USD, it's currently sitting at 31 cents. If you look at it on a short time frame, it certainly seems possible that, we're looking at something like this, where you have the first sell-off right here, media attention, enthusiasm, public greed, delusion, new paradigm shift right here. A bull trap, return to normal, the dead cat bounce, fear, capitulation, and ultimately despair and returning to the mean. I don't know what the mean is. I mean, you could obviously draw it a number of ways. I mean, if you draw it this way, then if it were to keep dropping back down, that would be a pretty significant drop to get back to those levels. But that's just the line on chart. So I think the key thing to take away from this is that, again, predicting the exact top is going to be very hard to do. But if you were accumulating Doge way back over here, or even over here, it's going to be very hard for these people to probably not take profits up here. And I do think at some point, whether we've hit it now or in the not so distant future, the selling pressure is just going to be too immense. I mean, there's new Doge coins minted all the time, so it's not like it has a fixed supply or anything. So there's going to be more coins hitting the market all the time. So that's sort of my pragmatic view of Dogecoin. If you're in Dogecoin, I honestly wish you the best of luck. I really do. But remember, at the end of the day, it's a zero-sum game. If you're buying it at 31 cents, there's probably someone out there that bought it at 1 penny and they're selling it to you at a 31x markup. There's probably someone out there that bought it at a fraction of a penny and they're selling it up to you 300 times what they paid for it. So remember, it's a zero-sum game. I don't know how high this is going to go. Probably depends on maybe some things that happen in social media. But whatever you do, make sure you protect yourself. It's not financial advice. I've just seen a lot of people get absolutely wrecked on moves like this. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Click the bell icon to turn on notifications. Give the video a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. Bye.